Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're a product manager, there's a really high chance you're currently drowning in a sea of sync meetings. You know the ones. They eat up your entire week, but somehow produce absolutely zero actual decisions. We all have that one stakeholder who just wants to jump on a quick call to get aligned, right? Well, today, we've got a highly actionable cure for that calendar fatigue. We're breaking down this incredibly effective 30-minute weekly review ritual that will completely transform how you operate and honestly help you radically reclaim your time. So let's dive right into this.
5. That is the exact number of soul-crushing, totally redundant weekly meetings this single 30-minute ritual is designed to eliminate from your calendar. Think about the sheer volume of hours you spend trapped in conference rooms or just staring at those silent, awkward grids on a video call. By shifting to the focused review process we're about to outline, you can wipe out almost an entire day's worth of wasted time every single week.
So let's address the elephant in the room here. Why do these recurring sync meetings even exist in the first place? Think about your chaotic Monday stand-up, the Wednesday status sync, that Thursday stakeholder update, the Friday retro. Well, I'll let you in on a dirty little secret from our source material. They literally only exist because nobody has a shared picture of where the product actually is. Everyone is just desperately reaching for context that, frankly, should already be highly visible to the entire team.
Now, when PMs try to fix this lack of context, they often fall into a massive trap. The instinct is to go for full coverage. You know the drill. You pull up every dashboard, you read every single Slack thread, you scroll through endless Jira tickets. 90 minutes later, you are totally exhausted, overwhelmed, and you've made exactly zero decisions. What you actually need isn't comprehensive coverage. You need situational awareness. You need to extract only the signal from all that noise. You know exactly what matters right now.
To get that situational awareness, you really only need to answer 3 crucial questions. First, is the product actually moving toward the outcome it's supposed to? Second, what did we learn from users this week that changes anything? And third, what is blocked or off track that needs a decision before Friday? The crucial point is the rule of 3 here. Absolutely everything outside of these 3 specific questions is just noise. Your weekly review is simply about extracting these 3 answers incredibly fast and acting on them.
So here's how this builds into an actual schedule. This is the exact ticking clock structure of your new 30-minute ritual. It is tightly segmented. We have 8 minutes for the North Star check, 10 minutes for sweeping customer signals, 8 minutes dedicated to blockers and decisions, and a final 4-minute sprint to define the focus for next week. It's fast, it's ruthless, and it forces you to prioritize craft over chore. Let's break down exactly what you're doing in each of these blocks.
Okay, the timer starts, and for the first 8 minutes, you're doing a North Star check. But what's crucial here is what you are not doing. Actually, scratch that. You're not looking at any chaotic dashboards with 40 different vanity charts. You start with the one metric that proves if your product is actually working. Is that metric up, flat, or down week over week? The rule is super simple. If that primary metric is flat or down for 2 weeks running, that immediately triggers a mandatory decision later in this very session. If it's up, you just quickly confirm it's a real signal and not some weird glitch.
Next up, minutes 8 through 18. This is your customer signal sweep. But notice the key word here, new. Do not, whatever you do, try to drink from the raw Slack fire hose. Skip the backlogged, recurring complaints, the ones you already know about. You are looking strictly for what users said this week that was fresh and new. Maybe it's a completely weird workaround someone found to bypass a bug, or a totally unexpected compliment on a minor feature. Finding just one new signal that fundamentally changes your understanding of a problem is infinitely more valuable than rereading 100 familiar tickets.
Then, minutes 18 to 26 are for blockers and decisions. Any stuck item needs a crisp, one-line decision statement. Think about it. If you write, "Should we delay the redesign to fix the onboarding drop?" Wow, that is actionable. That demands a yes or no. But if you just jot down, "Discuss onboarding," well, you're doomed. Crisp decision statements get resolved. Vague, boring topics just get rescheduled indefinitely. This is where you absolutely force the issue.
Finally, minutes 26 to 30. You have exactly 4 minutes left. Your job here is to write down exactly one sentence about next week. What is the single most important thing you are trying to learn or ship before the next review? If you cannot state your primary goal in one single sentence, something like, "We need to validate the new checkout flow by Thursday," then your week does not have a spine yet. You have to fix that lack of clarity before you close out the document.
Okay, so you've done the review, you've spent your 30 minutes, but what happens if nobody actually reads it? The source material offers a pretty blunt warning here. An unshared review is really nothing more than a private diary entry. It might make you feel incredibly organized, for sure, but a diary entry will absolutely not cancel any of your downstream meetings. The output has to travel.
And that brings us to the magic number 4. To kill those recurring meetings, you take your synthesis and you share a perfectly distilled 4-line asynchronous update directly in your team's Slack channel or central doc. 4 lines. The metric status, 1 new learning, 1 key blocker, and your goal for next week. That's the whole shebang. Anyone on your team or in stakeholder management can read a 4-line update in about 20 seconds. Suddenly, that Monday morning stand-up doesn't need to happen because the shared context is already out there, living right on everyone's screen.
Over time, this consistent sharing creates this compounding superpower called product memory. After a month of these tight weekly updates, you gain the retrospective clarity to trace literally any feature decision directly back to the specific user signal that triggered it. You can spot product drift way before it turns into a full-blown crisis. And crucially, stakeholders who receive this crystal-clear context every Monday start to trust you implicitly. They stop scheduling those tedious Thursday check-ins because they already have the full picture.
But of course, there's a catch. The pitfall that ruins this entire process is signal assembly. If you have to spend 20 of your precious 30 minutes hunting across 6 different software tools, logging into Jira, checking Zendesk, copy-pasting feedback into a messy Google Doc, well, the chore has eaten the craft once again. Your review will bog down in administrative busywork, and you'll eventually just abandon the ritual.
The source article notes that teams who run this ritual successfully usually have their synthesis waiting for them automatically. They highlight a solution called Specky, which is built on a queryable product graph. What this means in practice is that customer feedback, past decisions, and current experiments are all linked together and can be searched in plain language. Your weekly review transforms from a frustrating scavenger hunt across multiple tools into a seamless, intelligent conversation with your product's history. Synthesis literally becomes the default.
And that leaves us with one final question for you. Are you ready to trade 5 lost hours of useless meetings for 30 minutes of high-leverage craft? By shifting from chaotic coverage to structured situational awareness and sharing that context cleanly, you can completely take back control of your calendar. Start this Monday, set a 30-minute timer, and just see how quickly your week transforms. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy building.